All right, well, welcome everybody to the third day of Ignite. I'm hoping everybody is having a excellent time at the show. Lots of new announcements that we've made over the last few days. Lots of opportunities for networking. I know that I've met with quite a few of you and had tremendous conversations. So I'm hoping you guys are having a good of a time as we are. So today what we want to talk about is our modernization and what really the challenges are. So when we talk to customers today, the message is remarkably consistent. They're under extraordinary pressure to modernize. They're dealing with rising technical debt, aging infrastructure, fragmented portfolios, and teams that are already stretched just keeping day-to-day operations running. They aren't lacking intent. What they're lacking is capacity, clarity, and confidence. And this is where all of us come in. Our customers need support, not just from Microsoft, but from the entire ecosystem represented in this room. They need your expertise, your discipline, and your ability to guide them through complex environments and into more modern, more automated, and more resilient architectures. This isn't a challenge any of us can solve alone. You're often the first to see the full picture, oftentimes before the customers actually do. You see the inconsistencies across environments, the legacy components hiding inside critical systems, the workloads that can't go down, but desperately need modernization. And you're balancing all of that while managing budgets, timelines, and expectations that don't always match reality. You've told us that too much of your time is spent reconciling systems that should already work together. That modernization often starts with uncertainty, unclear dependencies, undocumented configurations, or applications where the original authors left years ago. You've told us that skill shortage is real, and it's limiting your ability to take on more customers. And you've told us that projects become unpredictable when every engagement requires custom effort. Now, what's important to recognize is that the challenge customers face aren't isolated. They span the entire technology footprint, and for partners, the same challenge exists across their practices. A migration issue quickly becomes an application issue. An application issue becomes a data issue. Every motion touches the other. This fragmentation is part of the reason modernization can feel so slow and unpredictable. Even when each individual team is performing well, the overall progress slows because the work isn't connected. The turning point comes when we can bring these practices into a more cohesive, integrated motion. Now, I did a session yesterday with Levi's. Levi's has been on their transformation journey with us since 2018. They are almost done with their migration to Azure. Actually, they're closing their last data center in June of 2026. We're planning a big party. And what they saw was that they had hundreds of specialized IT people in disconnected practices across Linux, Windows, databases, et cetera. And what they were able to do with their migration to Azure was unite some of these teams and make a scalable, smaller team of full stack experts, leading to considerable business benefits, cost being one of them. But it was a very difficult transition. They had a lot of change management, training, et cetera, and we see your practices undergoing the same transformation. When I first sort of started being involved in more of the AI projects, I was actually working on a Kubernetes team. And as many of you are painfully familiar with, refactoring legacy apps to Kubernetes is never an easy task. Whether it's microservices or YAML files without spaces, it's oftentimes a very, very difficult task. However, with generative AI and then agents, it became increasingly clear that we might actually have an unlock to some of the hardest modernization challenges. Cloud gave us the scalability and operational consistency needed to run these transformations with confidence, especially as customers adopted more distributed, resource-intensive architectures. Together, AI and cloud create a foundation where modernization is no longer a series of disconnected and manual steps, but a continuous and intelligent motion. It's a shift from reactive to proactive, from manual to assisted, from isolated tools to unified ecosystems. And it can find the places you left out that space in the YAML file, or maybe even write the YAML file for you. Now, Agentic Cloud Ops is our answer to the fragmentation that we discussed earlier. It's a connected framework that helps you start to bring together all of your practices, from migration to infrastructure to applications to data to operations, in a single AI-assisted motion. Instead of disconnected workflows, you can focus on a full-stack outcome for your customers. Instead of tackling issues in isolation, the agents understand the full context of the services, across layers, across workloads, across dependencies. GitHub Copilot and Azure Copilot work together to analyze the environment, recommend modernization paths, implement refactoring, deploy landing zones, and continuously optimize the environment as it runs in production. Now, imagine walking into a customer and in a customer engagement and knowing on day one exactly what's in the estate. The dependencies, the risks, the modernization paths, not weeks of discovery, not endless interviews, clear insight immediately. Your developers opening an application the customer hasn't touched in years, and having Copilot walk through the recommended framework upgrades, the depreciated APIs, the security vulnerabilities, and the exact code changes needed to modernize it. Launching a database modernization, where the agent not only identifies the compatibility gaps, but automatically generates the remediation steps. Right-sizes the target platform and validates the design with your landing zones architecture. Now, one of our favorites, or all of our favorite, a VMware migration, where you're not spending cycles reconciling inventory and recalculating infrastructure needs. The agent does all of that. Verifies the guardrails and maps workloads to the operational Azure configuration, optimal Azure configuration. These are not distant scenarios. They are engagements you will run with more speed, more clarity, and more confidence than ever before. Now, the results of all of this reflect this shift. Where customers once spent months refactoring applications, partners using these agents are completing modernization in hours and days, not by cutting corners, but by eliminating the manual work that held projects back. SQL migrations that used to trigger uncertainty are now predictable motions, with partners reducing cost by up to 68% while improving performance. In infrastructure migrations, some partners are delivering nearly $1 million in annualized savings for customers, while providing a clear, safer, more governed migration to Azure. Operational teams are reporting efficiency improvements approaching 50%, not because they're working harder, but because the environment itself is now intelligent enough to surface risks, correct drift, and guide optimization. These aren't just numbers. They represent time back for your teams, capacity to take on more customers, and modernization practices that truly scale. Now, you're all aware of the Azure Migrate service, I hope. The migration agent is the agent for that service available in Azure Copilot. What it does is automate a lot of the functionality you're already used to. In addition to the agent, we're super excited to introduce a few more innovations this week within Azure Migrate. So we are now able to, we now enable application-centric decision-making in addition to traditional resource-centric analysis for both lift and shift and pass migrations. Azure Migrate supports conversational platform landing zone creation. This has been a feature that's been a hit all week long. We had a session that was full just on this topic, where you can describe a customer architecture or objectives, and the agent generates deployable templates to meet their needs. This was a major pain point for the majority of our customers. As we deliver on faster time to value, we have also ensured that Azure Migrate service has support for all of the latest Linux distributions and open source databases like PostgreSQL and MySQL. The agent benefits from the underlying investment we've made in Azure services for a comprehensive set of assessments for these workloads. Now, I think I've talked enough. I would like to show you how all of this works, so please join me in this demo.
Cloud partners work with customers who run mixed estates. Some apps in the cloud, but many still on-prem. One customer's VMware contract is approaching renewal, creating urgency and opportunity. Using the Azure Copilot migration agent to plan, size, and guide a migration from VMware to Azure, the agent recommends modernization paths. But the partner flags that the customer must act fast due to expiring licenses. The agent adapts instantly and shifts to a lift and shift strategy to accelerate timelines without delaying benefits. The partner can validate the updated plan, and the agent lays out the migration journey, beginning with automated discovery of the customer's VMware infrastructure. The partner selects the Azure Migrate collector, reviewing key prerequisites, like the fact that the appliance works without direct internet access. You can upload the collected data and identify all of your workloads. You need a clear, data-driven business case to bring to your customers' executives. The agent produces a full business case, aligning technical recommendations with financial outcomes. It highlights savings like savings over $92,000 over 3 years, which supports both the customer value and your potential revenue. And this really strengthens your pitch as a partner by showing how the customer can reinvest in innovation and modernization. And the benefits go beyond cost. It shows things like scalability, security, and carbon reduction emissions. It's like the equivalent of removing several cars from the road for an entire year. So with this data, you can secure executive buy-in and you can greenlight the project. This moves you into the migration planning, and you can begin reviewing each of your customers' servers' cloud readiness. The agent prepares the assessment, and it confirms all the servers are ready for Azure, identifying only 3 that require minor adjustments. It also generates a downloadable assessment with right-sized VM recommendations, helping the partner maximize your performance and margins. Confident in that plan, you can move forward with the Azure VM migration, and it begins generating the landing zone. The agent prepares a recommended landing zone configuration and reviews key design decisions with the partner before deployment. The configuration adheres to the Cloud Adoption Framework best practices, covering networking, governance, and security, so partners can deliver confidently and at scale. You can walk through the landing zone template with your customer's engineering team. An automated setup now completes this in hours. Now the agent can guide you through deploying the template using GitHub Actions. It recommends using Azure Migrate's built-in server migration feature to streamline the move to Azure VMs. Now you as a partner can use Azure Migrate to execute the server migration and finalize the engagement. With Azure Copilot Migration Agent, you get a rapidly delivered and validated plan, accelerating your move from customers' VMware environments, and you just expanded your migration practice along the way.
All right, so Azure Migrate is now available in preview. We welcome all of you to participate in the first adoption of the Agentic capabilities. I'm sure we will be reaching out to you shortly if you have not heard from us already, but we really welcome you to try it and give us as much feedback as possible, and I look forward to working with all of you. So with that, I would like to pass it off to Mike Hume, who's going to talk a little bit about our developer-led migration modernization. Mike?
All right, thank you so much, Maria. Let's give her a hand of applause, please. Thank you. You know, I spent the early part of my career in the early days of .com building Java applications, and I spent more than 12 years at VMware helping to deploy millions and millions of virtualized workloads. And now it's my sincere pleasure to help modernize those decades of technical debt and bring those into the modern era and hopefully make them a little more AI ready as well. So I feel like we've been on this journey with everyone. And you know, it's really interesting to see how agents are making that journey both to cloud and to modernization easier than ever. And as you saw in the keynote on Tuesday, what really makes this special is the connected tooling experience across assessment and migration and modernization and deployment. All of this is helping IT and developers work together better than ever with more connectivity and fewer silos. And you know, the clear breakthrough here the way that we're going to evolve away from decades of technical debt that we've been discussing is really this set of modernization agents. They're already acting like extensions to our developer teams. Developers are already using agents to delegate complex tasks to agents and automate end-to-end processes, from assessing entire app estates to upgrading and modernizing existing code with minimal effort in just a fraction of the time. And they can also use these agents to understand customized or specialized code. Much of that may date back decades. Much of that may be knowledge that's contained in individuals who have actually left the company, and now you have at your fingertips all of the information you need to keep your application estate up and running, modern, secure, and performing in peak performance. So agents are helping us understand how each workload is interconnected with infrastructure and databases, to ISV solutions, to open source code, and to other applications. They're helping us through the change management that's needed to bring cloud and AI native application architectures online, to operate with new complex processes like DevOps or FinOps that you may not already have in your systems. And all of those innovations are creating a major evolution of skills and processes so that we can move faster, we can stay secure, and we can manage costs more effectively in an AI-first world. And as you may know, earlier this year, we introduced GitHub Copilot app modernization capabilities. Now, it's a little bright in here, but has anyone experimented with this capability yet? Can I get a show of hands? Not very many, actually. Okay, great. Well, this might be new for you then. So really the key here is that this is an agentic experience that sits inside of GitHub Copilot. It's the tools that hopefully your development teams are already using. And what it allows them to do is quickly upgrade and modernize their Java and .NET applications on Azure. And as a developer, I can tell you, I didn't get into this space so that I could sit and patch and upgrade existing legacy systems. What I really want to be doing is spending all of my time building really cool stuff for the next wave of value that I'm going to bring to my business. But modernization often consumes so much of my time. It can be 40%, 50% of my day sometimes, where I'm just sitting there trying to make my existing code work a little bit better. And with all of this, I can actually take this low value work that can be very time consuming and start to delegate it and offload it to my agents. And because GitHub Copilot really changes this whole dynamic, what used to take months or even years can now be done in just a matter of days. And we're building on that momentum with a new generation of capabilities in GitHub Copilot. Just this week, we've expanded the support across languages and frameworks. You can now upgrade from .NET Framework to .NET. Java applications can be upgraded all the way to Java 25. We've integrated GitHub Copilot app modernization capabilities directly into portfolio assessment tools like Azure Migrate, Dr. Migrate, and Cast. So you can actually move from discovery to deployment with a very seamless end-to-end experience. And we've also enhanced the containerization assistance. GitHub Copilot can now auto-generate Docker files. And the artifacts that you need to deploy both container platforms and PaaS environments such as AKS Automatic and App Service. And lastly, we've created a new offering outside of GitHub Copilot, which is Azure App Service. And with that, organizations can actually migrate existing .NET web applications to the cloud without the cost or effort of rewriting code. All of this allows you to migrate directly into a fully managed platform as a service environment. And the result is faster modernization, lower overhead, and access to cloud-native capabilities as well as AI capabilities. Now, we're super excited about what's in GitHub Copilot, so we have kind of a fun video we wanted to show you. It brings to life the capabilities that are available in the product today. And so just watch with me for just a minute. Now, I don't know if it's the great playlist or the ambitious use of exclamation points, but never did I think that app modernization would be just so cool, right? So I invite you to go out and check out the solution. Obviously, we sped it up a little bit for our video, but you will see something very similar. I'm excited for you guys to see that experience, and it's certainly a huge, huge improvement over what we are used to in a much more manual environment. Now, GitHub Copilot, we've been talking a lot about applications, but we're also not leaving databases behind, because when we're talking about modernization, we're talking about the complete estate. And so we're announcing new capabilities for database modernization across SQL and PostgreSQL in an effort to bring data along with you as you modernize. And this week we unveiled next-gen Azure SQL Managed Instance, which is a destination for your SQL workloads. The latest release is now generally available. It delivers double the storage and 5x the performance for mission-critical workloads. And we're also transforming how you get there with a more streamlined migration experience enabled by Azure Arc, which is assisted by Microsoft Copilot. And that end-to-end migration experience is now generally available for all SQL Server workloads. Now, when I started this process earlier this year and we were bringing this product to market, I was talking to some analysts and they were saying, vendors are kind of overstating the value or the impact that agents are going to have in modernization. They were actually urging a little bit of caution if it's a new technology. And what I'm really excited to show you is that the real world results, whether they're from Microsoft as customer zero or whether they're from all of you working with customers, is that the results exceeded our expectations. We're seeing some really incredible, tangible, real world impact across all of our customers. And so here's just a few examples, and just to bring them to life a little bit. For China, automated middleware migration tasks, they reduced their migration effort by 70%. We have a very large insurance company, which is modernizing more than 600 Java applications in just 3 days. Internally, we have our own Xbox team, which is using our product to move 4 times faster in their modernization and their business. And as partners, you have access to all of these technologies. We think you'll find similar results when you're working with your customers and when you're bringing out these agents to your customers as well. So one thing that we've heard a lot about from partners is about extensibility. So I might be using GitHub Copilot. There's a lot of other great tools out there on the market. There's a ton of innovation happening here, and people have been asking, how can I actually integrate with GitHub Copilot with third-party tools? And GitHub is built as an open platform. Earlier this year at GitHub Universe, just about 3.5 weeks ago, we made an announcement of something called Agent HQ. And Agent HQ is where we actually can welcome any coding agent to sit on top of GitHub, to integrate in and give developers the flexibility that they need to use any tool, while also supporting the same enterprise security and governance and observability and DevOps practices within GitHub. And so for modernization, extensibility is one of those things that we have on our roadmap. So stay tuned to further announcements there. But today we are seeing partners use GitHub Copilot with other modernization tools, helping them achieve the same outcomes that they need for their customers. And we're excited that we can land that with you. We have a great example from 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗃, who's working with Devon. And they're seeing some great results that look very similar to some of those results that we're showing you around the advancements in GitHub Copilot. Okay, so we covered a lot already in this session. We've covered a lot of technology, a lot of new announcements, but nothing speaks louder than real customers and partners. And so we actually want to bring up 2 great examples of that, folks that are using our solutions to be successful. So please welcome to the stage Satheesh from Capgemini and Falgun from Penske. Welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for taking time out of your week and coming here and sharing your stories and hopefully helping everyone find some knowledge about how they can move forward and achieve the same kind of goals with you. And so, we know that modernization is a journey. In this case, the journey is happening in a Penske truck. So, we kind of see us moving along the path here. We know that there were multiple steps in how you sort of brought all of this to life. But, Falgun, why don't you sort of set the stage for us? You have been on an ongoing modernization journey, as most everyone in this room has been with their customers. Really, what motivated you to kind of look at new technology, look at GitHub Copilot, and kind of examine the solution offering?
So first of all, thank you for having us here. It's such a privilege to be on such an auspicious stage, so thanks for that. And you mentioned Penske trucks, right? But I don't think many people know that Penske has 400,000 plus trucks on the road, and we lead the leasing, logistics, rental, fleet management in North America. Now, it's a good business, but it's very niche business. What I mean by that is, If you go to market, you would not find any software that lets you rent a truck or lease a truck, right? So we have to build our own custom software in-house. So we have a lot of in-house built software. They are old in the technology. We have tech debts, and now we have business expectation. I cannot go any higher, right? That's ceiling. And we have our development staff. So how do we meet this expectation with the staff? One of the ways to do that is to empower your developers. And we found in GitHub Copilot, we found a good assistant that empower developers so they could be more productive and they could easily meet this tech debt.
Excellent, great. And we love that because developers are already in these tools, they're using them, and it's a great way of extending something that they already know into some great new areas. So, okay, so Satheesh, from your side, in the early days of when you were working together with 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗃, kind of help us understand, like, what did you understand from them, and how did you play a role in helping them reach their success?
First of all, good afternoon, and thank you for being me in the stage. At Capgemini, we believe innovations make it real. So with our strong 25 years of partnership with 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗃𝗃, we really understand the business context and technology context of 𝗦𝗽𝗃𝗃. So also we are a partner to Microsoft. We are one of the early adopters of GitHub Copilot, which help us to make bold commitments on productivity gains and quality gains in software engineering lifecycle. So we started in the early days with a structured training for the entire employee ecosystem for Capgemini and 𝗦𝗽𝗃𝗃, and make sure that like they understand how they are going to work on the new way of working, leveraging the prompt engineering techniques, and also the technology enablement from the GitHub Copilot. The second part was like, it was to make sure that while we handing over these tools to the team members, we don't want to compromise on the quality. So we instituted a measurement protocol to evaluate productivity, quality, and also developer experience early at the stage. So it was evaluated at every sprint. And the last part was like to make sure that we identify a right project. So we worked with 𝗦𝗽𝗃𝗃𝗃 team, and one of the project which was Falgun was there. We selected that project as the first project where identified the right use cases. For example, unit testing, coding, and code review. These are the couple of use cases we started with, which helped the teams to enable the GitHub Copilot on the right way to get the better adoption. So that helped the team to produce better results. As a final result, 13% of productivity achieved by the team, which was actually like proving what we committed.
We've seen this in our own systems too. You have to start with a very clear use case. You have to start with a very clear goal in mind. The change management can actually be really challenging as well. You want people to adopt technology, but when it's new like this, you need to help them see the value right away, because you want to help them understand that what they can use now and what they can work with is superior to the ways that they have been doing it. That change essence is really an interesting part of the overall solution. But I know that you did have some challenges as you went through this, so let's kind of actually focus on those and help everyone in the room think about if they run into the same things, what would they do to overcome them? Do you want to give us a start, Falgun?
Come on, there was no challenge.
No.
It was piece of cake, right?
It is easy, right?
So I think the biggest challenge, and I think that's still work in progress, is the mindset change, right?
Yeah.
People see AI with different lenses. Some see that as a threat, some see that as an enabler. So it was very important that our developers, they understand that AI is there to assist them, to help them, and not to take somebody's job, right? So the mindset change was there. The second thing I would say is setting up the realistic expectation. I mean, people would come and ask that, can AI make coffee for me? Not yet, maybe someday, but not yet, right? So if they know what they are expecting out of the AI, then they could prompt accordingly, and then they could get the result that they are expecting, right? So I think those two were the key thing which we did at 𝗦𝗽𝗃𝗃𝗃.
Other than the lack of an AI espresso machine, what kind of challenges did you see?
I think the adoption was the biggest challenge. Like the teams came back and said, I can do coding better than GitHub Copilot.
Right.
I'm taking 4 hours rather than 2 hours of my task. So what we did was, like, we did that structured training which I was talking about, enable the team with the right prompt engineering skills, also making sure that team using the right use cases. We also created champions in each team. They have become the coaches. So they help the team to make sure that they use the tool right way on the right use cases to get the benefits. And I think any other challenges you remember, like
I wouldn't say that is a challenge, but I would say that is bare minimum requirement. I think the leadership alignment, right? And that's not just for this project, any project when your leadership believes in something, right? They're convinced that, okay, this is going to solve the problem, and which we proved by running the pilot first. Our pilot has exciting results, and now everybody was convinced that this is where we should empower, and then we should maybe push a little bit so our developers can adopt and embrace this change. So I think that was a good thing.
And getting back to Microsoft as customer zero, we actually saw the exact same thing. So we had to go through a mind shift change from pride in the work to pride in the results. You know, how are we driving outcomes here? We also had to build trust in the technology, even though it is our own technology. We had to help people understand that it was actually a really important technology that they could count on the outcomes to be accurate and at the right quality. And you know, one of the things that we've done across our solution is really kept the developer in the loop. So as you'll see as you use it, I hope you go out and experiment with it, you'll actually see the modernization plan come back, and the developer is the one that approves that plan. It's redirecting and moving through the right steps and stages, you know, course correcting what the agent is recommending. But the agent also is a continuous learning model, so it will learn from what the developer is guiding it, and actually your future results will be even more tied to your unique decisions, your criteria, and the context that you want to build into that process.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I think Mike, especially the team on the ground, they are pretty much industry experts from Capgemini. They're working on this solution from a long time. But when they are moving from that legacy to the modern code, the challenge was like to enable GitHub Copilot, when to use, what time to use, which I mentioned. So what we have done apart from this was like we conducted a weekly developer office hours where they come back and they say like, hey, these are the challenges I face, this is the prompt I use, why it's a different results. So we did a continuous coaching for those teams. And also we enabled a developer survey in a monthly phases, which gives a feedback to us and say like, hey, there are gaps. There is a constant coaching is required on this area, which helped the team to get the benefit out.
Yeah, that's really great. Those beacon users really become powerful. Individuals, developers training other developers is actually more powerful than management or a vendor. And you know, I think the partners here today can play a great role in that because they can come in and speak at a peer level to the kind of development teams that are going to be using that technology. So, okay, we hinted a little bit at some benefits and some results. Let's get into some numbers and details here. You want to share a little bit about what you've seen?
How to do that, but still that AI-powered espresso machine, that's in my brain. I think I'll trademark that once I walk out of this room.
Very good.
That's a good idea.
Good customer.
Yeah, but yeah, and this is again, I would make it for any project, right? That you have your goals, and the goals should be the measurable goals, right? So when we are adopting this GitHub Copilot, we were keeping a close eye on the statistics which we wanted to monitor. We partnered with Capgemini, and then we defined that we would measure our progress on 3 pillars, right? So first is the quality improvement. So the quality of the code could be measured by looking at various SonarQube and test results and all those things. So we see improvement in the quality. Most important is productivity, right? We were comparing our velocity of the teams sprint after the sprint, and we see clear increase in the velocity, close to 13%, as Satheesh mentioned. So that was a good matrix. And then obviously, it is AI, but it is assisting human, right? So we made sure that periodically and regularly we go and ask our developers, get their feedback. What are the challenges? Okay, where they are struggling with, and then empower them to use it, use the GitHub Copilot in a better way.
So that's great, and productivity and efficiency, those are really great gains. And maybe let's just stay with you for just the last question here, which is really, how do you see these agentic capabilities evolving and expanding to help you innovate? Because I think that's the key here, is take work off of people's plate so that they can focus on what matters.
Definitely, right? As I said, that we have this much work and we have this much workforce, right? So we need to just empower this workforce to meet the demand. So with GitHub Copilot, we just scratched the surface. And with this, we are seeing increase of 13% in the productivity. There is so much more to do in entire SDLC, right? So we could use the AI for the requirement engineering. We could use the AI for testing engineering. We could embed that in our CI/CD pipeline. Once we put AI in entire SDLC, it looks like we should improve our productivity by 20%.
That's great. That's great. Good. Well, we're looking forward to that as well. So, all right, final question. We've heard a lot about frontier firms and becoming frontier, but Satheesh, what does that sort of mean to you? You're out there, you're meeting with a lot of organizations, you're helping Penske continue to evolve and grow. How do you see this sort of frontier firm concept playing in?
It's meant for like not just adopting the AI, rather than bringing intelligence into every step of enterprise systems. I think we had a discussion 2 weeks back. We are in the early phases of discussing how we can transform the process of like warranty claim, for an example. Bringing agents into a step where we can take off some of the repetitive stuff which humans are doing it. So with the large capability which Microsoft as a partner we get from Microsoft, for example, Azure or Microsoft AI Foundry, Agentic framework, GitHub Copilot, M365 capabilities, with our industry expertise, we can transform and reimagine the way of working. So as a partners, I believe like that is the next opportunity for everyone. Look at the current way of working, reimagine the new way of operating, bring intelligence in every step, either it's in modern software engineering or building new intelligent applications.
Well, Satheesh, Falgun, thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for a great partnership. I think we're off to a great start and really looking forward to helping you realize this next chapter as well. So
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you again.
Cheers.
Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so what I'd like to do is just close out here with a real focus on the resources and the other services that are available to all of you so that you can also take advantage of these great capabilities and bring them out to your customers. You know, we're excited for you to walk away with some excitement around Azure Copilot, around GitHub Copilot, all the new capabilities that are in there, and really know that these intelligent agents are all available to you today. They can help you automate discovery, they can help you perform assessments, and then it can help you with end-to-end execution as well. And all of that is to help you dramatically accelerate the process of your migration and modernization efforts. But combined with Azure Accelerate, we're giving you everything you need to really power all of this with investments and expert assistance. Most of you, I'm sure, here are very familiar with Azure Accelerate, but this is our unified program that's really designed to streamline and fast track your cloud and AI adoption for all of your organizations. And now we're bringing it together, Azure Migrate and Modernize, Azure Innovate, the Cloud Accelerate Factory. This is an end-to-end framework that you can leverage for all of your customers. And so if you were to take a next step, the first thing I would actually ask you to do is go out and look at the product. I think the product is actually incredibly intuitive. You can start to look at the GitHub Copilot documentation. There's some great links here to resources for you so you can understand all of the new features. Like we did this week, we're continuing to expand all of the different ways that the modernization agent can service the widest range of applications that we have available for you. And there's some great app modernization guidance for you as well if you're looking to get started in a new chapter for your business. We also want you to make it real for your customers by leveraging the investments that are in Azure Accelerate for migration and modernization. You can check out our new Cloud Accelerate Factory. That's a new benefit that supports you with expert assistance using the GitHub Copilot app modernization capabilities, and all of those are available as resources to you right now. And maybe the last thing as a partner, I just want to remind you that we have this great set of resources. You have a fantastic partner community resource that's available to you. We have some great playbooks and some advanced capabilities around skilling. But maybe the one thing I would call your attention to is the Microsoft AI Cloud Partner Program. If you're not already a part of this, this is really an advanced program that gives you access to additional services and expertise. All of this is really important for you. Check out the details on how you can join that, and then how you can also use it to help you differentiate yourself as you go out and work with your customers. And with that, I'd just love to thank all of you for being here. I think we're just at the start of this agentic wave for migration and modernization. I'm excited to see the results in just this first phase, and you can only imagine how this is going to get better, faster, and more exciting as we help to alleviate this giant, decades-long technical debt world and help you focus on applications and services that drive